And we are live. Mr. Todd Durkin, welcome to the future of fitness, my friend.
Thank you, Eric. It is great to be in your home here, and I'm excited for the show.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. I've known of you for so long. A lot of mutual colleagues, Brett Klicka, right? Travis Barnes. We'll talk about these guys, I'm sure. But for people who don't know who you are, I'm just going to urge them to just Google you or look up your website. I'm not going to get into there's a lot of things I want to talk to you about, right?
Sure.
I mean, you're a coach at heart, I think. I'm going to ask you here in a second. Gym owner, you run masterminds, you have a podcast, you're an author, a speaker.
Yeah, baby.
We'll talk about that in a minute. And now you're a franchisor. So you do a lot of things. So here's a question I love to ask this to people like you. It's like, you're sitting on a plane. In my mind, I imagine it's first class, I hope. And
no, I'm in the back. I'm with my family who's here.
Even better, kids.
Yeah. I got people kicking the seats. I am in the rear with the gear.
Even better. So someone sits down next to you and you start talking to them and they ask you, so what do you do for a living, right? And you have to answer in one sentence, a single sentence, right? What do you tell them?
It's funny you ask, because the way I describe myself now is because that happened. And how do you take all of this stuff that you do when you're an entrepreneur and you're a coach and that? So it happened. I'll never forget that. And someone said, "What do you do?" And I just spat out, "I'm a life transformer."
Huh.
And they're like, "A life transformer? What do you mean by that?" I said, "I change lives. That's what I do." They're like, "Well, how do you do that?" Well, I said, "I'm a coach. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. I change lives." And they're like, "Huh, tell me more." And that's all you really want when people say, "What do you do?" Well, I'm a trainer, or I'm a coach, or I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Depends the setting what I'm in, right? Like what I do, but I change lives. And as a mindset coach and a physical coach, a trainer, I've been blessed over the last 25 plus years to work with a lot of different people, athletes, entrepreneurs, moms and dads, grandmas, grandpas, kids. I really don't care who it is, but if they want to change their life, that's what moves me and that's what moves my soul. And I started my business in year 2000. And that kind of got me started on the path to changing lives. And now, almost 25 years later, here I am just wrote the 5th book. I do a book signing tonight as we record this, awesome. A book signing here in Whitefish tonight. And I got a lot going on, but it's all around changing lives. That's everything I do. Is it going to change lives? My mission is to impact 100 million people. I don't care how it's done, but it's in the gyms, it's with mindset coaching, it's with life coaching, it's with recovery, it's with faith. It's everything I do is about change lives. That's what I'm designed to do.
Yeah, beautifully said. And if people haven't figured out, we're in Whitefish, Montana right now, right? You're changing lives. I believe you have I'll let you explain what you're hosting here, and a book signing. So if people want to switch over to YouTube too, they can do that because they'll get the full visual of that. But yeah, what do you think of Whitefish, man?
I love it here.
Yeah.
Second best to Bozeman, by the way.
Yeah. Bozeman's way better.
Bozeman's way better. Just go to Bozeman. Don't come to Whitefish.
Cheap cousin. Yeah.
Oh, man. I fell in love with Whitefish in 2021. Okay. One of my clients I've been working with for a long time, Drew Brees. Drew is the Super Bowl winning quarterback, soon to be Hall of Fame quarterback. I've been training Drew for 22 years now. Oh, wow. I trained him all 20 years of his NFL career. And in 2021, in the middle of a very, very rough patch for everybody. It was the pandemic. California was crazy. Gyms were closed. It was nuts. But I was battling with my own personal demons for the first time in a long time. And that's what True Strength is all about, the book. And I had a really, really serious back injury that left me in a bad place in trying to figure out the wreck and that, the world was in. And Drew said, "Hey, I've got a friend over in Whitefish, Montana. He just bought a big property. He wants you to build the spa, fitness, and retreat center." I've always wanted to be in the mountains. I thought it'd be maybe like Park City, Deer Valley, Utah. And when he said he wants you to build a spa, fitness, and retreat center in Whitefish, Montana, I was like, when can we leave? When can we start? And sure enough, the next week, we're here in Whitefish, and I fell in love. I fell in love with Whitefish. I fell in love with what's called the Homestead, 1,600-acre property just several miles down the road. And I've been just enamored and working deeply with all my friends out there in making a dream become a reality. And that's what I'm in the midst of whenever I come out here several times a year now. We're going on our 4th retreat. I brought different groups out here that I coach, life coaching, business coaching for fitness professionals. We have another one coming up in November out here in Whitefish. I just have fallen in love with it, Eric, and I'm a big believer in dreams and intentions, but you got to work your tail off to do that. I always had the desire, I would say always, the last 10 years, I've had the desire to be in the mountains doing a lot more business and life coaching.
Cool.
And that's what I'll be doing here. Not yet, but I'm building toward that now because I'm bringing more and more people to Bozeman and Whitefish. Not really Bozeman, just Whitefish, but you can always go to Bozeman.
Yeah. When you were going through that period during the pandemic and you say you're kind of facing your demons, I mean, when someone looks at someone like you, right, you're on stage, motivationally speaking, you're running masterminds, you're giving them inspiration and insights to help them drive forward and whatever endeavors that they may have, right? So I think most people think, well, what does a guy like you have with demons, right? Like how could demons affect you? You seem to have your house in order, right? So explain, like maybe expand on that. What was that? What was that? If you want to talk about it.
No, I'll try to make a long story short because that's what the book is about, True Strength. And the book starts out with one of my clients. His name is Pastor David Jeremiah. If you're in the faith-based world, you probably know of Pastor David Jeremiah. He's on TV every Sunday morning. He's got like 400 networks nationwide. And I've been training him for 10 years. And he has a quote that I heard him say years ago. I was training him. He said, hey, listen, he goes, the crest of the wave determines the depth of the valley, and the depth of the valley determines the crest of the wave. I didn't really understand it when he said it, but he said there's highs and lows in life. And really, the way I would explain this valley for me is I had a lot of crests and the waves in my career from year 2000 to 2020. Now, mind you, like anyone, there's highs and there's lows. I had some pretty cool highs during that time. I don't need to talk about what those highs were, but in 2020, like everyone, there was a lot of lows. I felt a personal responsibility for the fitness industry and all the people who I was coaching, and I put the weight of the world on my back. And I literally said it when I went live every day for 91 straight days, 7 days a week, to any trainer, coach, fit pro, business owner that needed inspiration, motivation, business coaching. I was going live at 12 noon West Coast, 3 o'clock East Coast every day. In the midst of this, there was this deep down voice since 2018 telling me that I was destined for more. There was something that I didn't want to just have Fitness Quest 10, the gym I started, for the next 10 years. I just turned 50, and I was like, there's got to be more. Life is good, but there's got to be something deeper. And I was doing this soul searching, and I didn't know what that was, and I just knew that I didn't want to keep doing exactly what I was doing for the next decade, but it's hard to give up good because it was good. It wasn't like I was failing. When you're failing, you got to change.
Right.
But when it's good, it's hard to give that up. I liken it to like a trapeze artist. Like you don't want to let go of this rung to get to the second rung because this is good, and you want to swing and you got to let go, but I didn't want to let go. So that's the analogy I use. And all of a sudden, when the pandemic hit, like everyone who was scrambling, I went through multiple things. In a nutshell, I had my second knee replacement surgery. I had my right one done in 2018, 2020. I had my left one done. Then a year later, I had to get it cleaned up because it didn't go as I wanted. But 6 weeks after my second knee replacement surgery, all of a sudden my back went out and something like I'd never felt before. Step back 25 years previously, my professional football career ended due to a really serious back injury, 3 herniated discs, spinal stenosis, degenerative back disease, left me motionless on a football field in Aix-en-Provence, France. That ended up being a blessing for me to ultimately get into fitness because I was like, I'm going to get out of back surgery without pain without having surgery, and I did. That led me into a path of healing as a body worker, trainer, strength and conditioning coach. That led me to open up my gym in January of 2000. Fast forward 20 years, all of a sudden my back was out again. Like when I say out, I know pain. 5 concussions, I've sprained and strained every part of my body. But this was pain, Eric, like I get emotional thinking about it because I felt pain like I've never felt before. And you start getting crazy thoughts when you're in pain. And you're looking at your kids, you're like, they have no idea how bad I am. And I'm trying to put the world on my back. And I'm literally saying, get on my back, get on my back. And my back broke. They told me I needed a 14-hour surgery. That's how bad it was. If you were to see a picture of my back, you wouldn't believe it because I didn't believe it. I was like, that's not my back. The doctor said, that's your back. And by the time I got to the 8th doctor and he said I needed a 14-hour surgery, I cried like a baby saying, I can't do this. I can't take a year off and get a full spinal fusion from the thoracic all the way down to the sacrum, everything in the lumbar spine. And this is how am I supposed to inspire 10 million people at that? And I'll never forget, one of the lowest times of my life was when this was going on after one of my doctor's appointments, and the doctor telling me that. I just vehemently let my wife have it, like just pleading out to her, like, why? Is it all worth it? Like ready to literally move to the mountains, retire, say, I'm done. And it was the same time I was getting involved with Whitefish. Like, I don't want any more of all of the heaviness. Well, she said, stop, time out. Maybe all of this is going to be a huge blessing. Maybe these biggest burdens that you're facing right now, someday you're going to help more than just trainers and coaches. You're going to help people who are in pain, people who are suicidal, people who aren't thinking right, people who are experiencing setback and adversity like you're facing right now. Now is the time to go through it. Don't deny it. You're going to have to suck it up and go through the journey of whatever it is, whether it's 6 months, a year, 2 years. You're going to have to go through it. And she kind of lectured me. I didn't want to hear it. I said, stop. I don't want to hear it. And she was right, Eric. Like, it was tough. But for the 2021, I spent in pain. So much pain that I couldn't work out. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't lie on my back. I couldn't lie on my right side. I couldn't lie on my stomach. I could only lie on my left side with a pillow between my knees. And I spent the majority of 2021 into early 2022. I call it the year of pain. And people always ask, what happened to your back? True strength, because I never had surgery and my pain went away. People are like, well, what happened? I can't tell you what happened other than I list out every single thing I did. And there wasn't one thing that like, hey, I got stem cells, which I did. I got 3 cortisone shots. I did a lot of different stuff, because when you're in pain, you'll do anything. But the hardest part of that was this. In the middle of the pandemic, I had just come out with a book called Get Your Mind Right. I'm known as a mindset coach. I'm the Get Your Mind Right guy. And here I am. I came out with a book, my 4th book called Get Your Mind Right. And all of a sudden, my mind's not right. I mean, in June of 2020, my book finally came out, Get Your Mind Right. I wrote it when my mind was right. All of a sudden, my mind is as wrong as it's ever been. And it was like I had to live my own words, like I had never had to live my own words. And I battled, because when you're in physical pain, and the only thing you want to do is get out of pain. And it was really, really bad. But in 2022, all of a sudden, my physical pain was gone, but I was still dealing with like fatigue, exhaustion, unknowingness of I had sold a big portion of my business, Fitness Quest 10, because I didn't know if I could lead anymore. I didn't know if I was going to die. I didn't know what was going on. So 2022 was like this gray kind of time. And when you ask, hey, well, everyone looks at you as like this guy who has all these accolades and success. Yeah, for 20 years I did. And for 3 years I battled like I've never battled before to get to, the other side of that. And all of this culminated, if I just fast forward through a bunch of it all culminated in 2023 with a diagnosis of sleep apnea on top of everything. And you probably have done shows on sleep apnea, but here I am going through all this physical pain, mental anguish, setback, adversity. And I run into a physician, Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, and Gabrielle's like, hey, Todd, like, you got sleep apnea. I'm like, that's sleep apnea. That's like for old guys. I don't have sleep apnea. She's like, no. I have Navy SEALs who are in their 30s who have sleep apnea. I'm like, really, what is sleep apnea? She said, it's when you stop breathing in the middle of the night. I said, really? Like, I don't know. Like, she says, has your wife told you snore in the night? I said, of course. She said, has your wife told you stop breathing in the night? I said, actually, she has. But I just tell her that I'm just being nice and polite. I'm being quiet. She goes, go get checked. I guarantee you have sleep apnea. I went and got checked. And sure enough, the night I got checked, I stopped breathing 120 times that night. And that 120 times was between, each one of those episodes was for between 20 to 52 seconds. I'm like, wait a second. I stopped breathing in the 6 hours and 10 minutes I slept last night for 20 to 52 seconds? They said, yeah, when you did that, your blood oxygen levels go down to 75 to 79. It goes, no wonder why you feel like garbage. You're exhausted. You're burnt out, all of this stuff, because you have sleep apnea. So it was a 3.5-year battle through darkest times. Now, I look at that as the biggest blessing, because of going through that battle and true strength and what's come on the other side of that. I've never felt as alive and focused and mission centered about what I'm doing in the health, fitness, wellness space as right now, because my vision has grown tenfold to even what it was prior to all this when I was at the height of, quote, my career of what I was doing. Now it's on a whole nother level to impact people at a much deeper level.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, thank you for sharing that. I'm sorry you had to go through all that. It's one of those,
sorry for the long answer.
No, it's great. I mean, it set the table really well. And I think anytime you get somebody who's been in an industry or been out front for a long time, it's like there's going to be periods you're going to have to reinvent yourself, right? Exactly. You have to endure, exactly. Right? And that's just, it's never going to be linear the whole way. I mean, you've been in business long enough where like the growth is never linear. It's like squiggly and then you go backwards and kind of this way, right? Yeah. So but you got to go through those points and it's tough. So I would imagine this book probably just kind of flew out of you, right? Would you sit down and write it? Was it easy? Like, not easy to write, but compared to the other 4 books, did it just kind of pour out?
I'll tell you what. It was the toughest book I ever wrote because I reveal all the stuff that's not pretty. It's hard to reveal the things that you're not good at or that didn't go well. Mm-hmm. It's not like I have Super Bowl champions written all over that and all these accolades and the highs, and this is a 10-week get your mind right or get your body right program. This is a memoir of me going through the darkest time of my life. And when you're writing that, you're like, I'm an emotional guy and I'm writing down this, like crying on paper. When we put the outline together, I didn't start this till December 2023. It came out in June of 24. Usually don't write a book and have it out that quick, but I said, I have to have this out. The world needs it right now. There's a lot of people who are struggling or facing adversity, challenge, strife, financially, relationally, personally, health, everything. I have to have it out, and it became a mission. So in December of 2023, when I sat down and mapped it all out over a 4-day period on the whiteboard and everything, I had never, for that 4-day period, gotten so emotional because I had to relive 3.5 years of hell. Literally, I had to go back and like remember, okay, I forgot about that. Like, yeah, it was with my wife and my co-author Clay Manley, who we were writing at, and like it was a really exhausting 4 days of having to relive it. But talk about flowing, it came out like it was just spitting out. It was writing itself, and it's a rather quick read because I didn't go like 500 pages. Some people are telling me they're reading it in a day or two because it flows. And it flows and it flows. And the big thing in there is there's action steps on the body, mind, and soul. Each chapter has body, mind, and soul of what you can do for your body, your mindset, and your soul set to really get it to the next level. If you're battling or you're struggling, you have some adversity, or a friend or a son or a daughter or a spouse. I mean, what I'm finding is right now everyone's got something. Everyone's got something. Either you or your families, everyone's got something. And I'm like, guys, as a leader in the fitness space, I believe now that the good man from above gave this to me as an opportunity to go through it and taste it, because I hadn't tasted adversity like that since my pops passed away when I was 20 years old. And 30 years later, here I am going through this time that I believe is going to be the impetus for my next season of life, right? The next 25 years of really what I'm passionate about doing and spreading light. That's why the lighthouse is on the cover of that book, of being light. And we're now, and I don't want to fast forward too much, but we're now bringing lighthouses all throughout the country with my next aspect of what I'm working on.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that, man. Mm-hmm. I presume you're talking about ImpactX.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Travis, I've caught up with him over the years, and I know he's really excited about the partnership. He was kind of clandestine for a little bit. He was, a little quiet about it. He's like, nah, we were talking about doing some podcasts ago. He's like, nah, I got to keep it quiet. And then he told me what's going on. So give us the overview. It's a franchise model, right? Is that correct? Or what are you guys doing exactly?
So what happened is after I got diagnosed with that sleep apnea, about 2-3 months later, everything became crystal clear to me. I'm getting these downloads of like, okay, I'm going deeper in the fitness space because I got to go change lives. Because what I just went through was a big lesson for me of how people can endure adversity and this. And I'm a coach at heart. Like, I love coaching. Like, my divine uniqueness is coaching. Whether it's, I still love when I'm in the trenches, which I'm still training, a lot of athletes. I'll be in the trenches training and the world stops. Like, that's when I'm in my space. I love life coaching. I now have a life coaching certification. So we have other coaches and trainers who are getting life coaching certification. Next one starting up in September here. We have one a year. That's it. We have 44 life coaches now, Impact Life Coaches. But I'm going through this, and one of the gentlemen who I've been mentoring for over a decade, Travis Barnes, 2018, he started what was called Journey 333. His franchise was large group training. When I was coming out of this whole 3.5-year period, I started saying, I got to go deeper into my vision of what I'm being called to do. And what I'm being called to do as a man of faith is to bring fitness, recovery, life coaching, and faith into the world. And people are like, faith? You're going into faith? I'm like, yeah, I am. As a matter of fact, like, you don't have to if you don't want to, but if someone wants to go deeper in their faith, I'm going to have the opportunity for someone to have faith-building opportunities. Like, what do you mean? Well, I've been doing all of it anyway at Fitness Quest 10 with fitness, and I'm a man of faith, so they get it. We don't really have a real specific way at my original gym, Fitness Quest 10, but I want to offer it for people. And if we have Jewish people, Muslim, Hindu, atheist, agnostic, that's cool. Like, come in and get the best training and get recovery, awesome. But if someone wants to build their faith, we're going to have the opportunity to build that and help people up. And when something goes wrong, I want people to come into our lighthouse to get lit up, to be prayed with and for, and then go back and do your thing. And if you ever want to build that in your life, great, we're here. And I was building that after I got diagnosed for about 3 to 6 months. And as I shared my vision with Travis, because I was coaching him overall, he said, hey, Todd, like, I'm kind of stuck with Journey 333 or large group training. What if I take the Journey 333 model and we merge, and I put the Journey 333 model into ImpactX Performance? I said 100%. Why? Because Travis is an operator. He's in the trenches. I'm a visionary who wants to change the world. We're going to impact 100 million people, and we're going to have lighthouses all over the country. I love training. I love saying we're going to have recovery. We're going to have, cold plunges. We're going to have saunas, and we're going to have compression and all the different things in the recovery space. And we're going to have the best fitness, large group and private training, life coaching. Fitness is a gateway to help change people's lives, life transformer. Agreed. And if someone wants faith, it's there. And when I shared that with Travis, he said, you let me know when and where, I'm signed up. And that was late fall here, 2023, and by early 2024, it was signed, sealed, and delivered. And we now have 7 locations of ImpactX Performance, and we're growing. And I'm sharing my message with people who want to offer faith, fitness, recovery, and life coaching. And I'm not out there trying to grow like, hey, we want 100 by the end of the year. No, it's not like that. It's like we want the right people who want to grow not only their business, but ultimately change lives. Like, if you want to change lives, then we're the right place for you. And we've got fitness, we got recovery, we got life coaching, and I have a vision of bringing lighthouses throughout the country, and I'm really, really excited for what the future holds.
Interesting. So, Todd, from the member experience, right, the faith thing is new.
Yeah.
Right? We've seen a lot of different models out there. So how does that play out, like in an actual session, in a week? Like, how does someone engage with you guys to firm up their faith?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
How does that work?
Yeah. A couple things. And faith, and so there's a couple ways. Number one, inspiration. Inspiration is what? It's from the heart. Inspire the heart. So I will be delivering personally messages twice a week to all of our members inside of ImpactX Performance. These are not biblical per se, but they might be biblical stories, or they could be inspirational stories, people who've overcome adversity, just to inspire people on that. We also have what's called our sweat and soul classes. So where some people say, hey, we're going to sweat and then we're going to do a meditation afterwards. Great. Let's lie down and do a meditation. In the yoga world, they call it corpse pose or shavasana. Mm-hmm. Whatever you want to call it. But as we lie there and I lead, or our instructors lead people through an actual breath work, breathing, right, is spiritual. So as we bring them through the breath work, 18 to 20,000 times a day, they're breathing and they're being led on that. We're just bringing out the awareness of breathing, meditation, awareness, and prayer. Of prayer to dear God. We'll use the word God. I'm not afraid to use the word God. It's okay. Right? Like, it's okay, people.
It's okay.
Right? Like, it's okay. So we will use the word God in there. So that's the sweat and soul class. Not all classes are sweat and soul. The other ways that we'll use faith is this, 2 ways. every weekend we're going to offer a faith-based message. If you were a member at ImpactX Performance and you wanted those messages, you'd opt in to that and you'd receive a 10 to 15 minute faith-based message that will be biblical, that will apply to your life, and will encourage those people to go to their local community churches as well. We're not going to be the church, but we're going to offer an opportunity to get more faith-based messages on that. And then lastly, like a church would, we want small groups, like small groups where people can come together. The biggest thing that we have done in my experience at Fitness Quest 10, in my coaching groups and everything I've been part of, and Travis has done it really well at Journey, is community. And in whether it's a faith-based community or a fitness community, we're going to have a community of people who are great people, that if you need something, you come talk to me. If I don't know the answer, I'm going to connect you with people who can get you the answer. And when it's not going to be like, hey, can I pray for you? It's, can we pray with you? Right? So to me, you're going to have that opportunity, or someone would have that. Well, I don't believe in God. Fantastic. Cool. Come hang with us. Come work out. Come get your recovery. And when you need me, I'm here. I'll pray with you. Yeah. That's it. As simple as that. Like, so we're going to have the best in fitness and recovery and life coaching. And when someone wants it, they're going to have the opportunity to get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. I mean, I was a CrossFit owner for a long time. And I could tell you many times I felt like I was running a church.
Yeah.
Like it's just the gathering on the Saturdays, right? It was just the social aspect that people got out. It wasn't a bar. It wasn't a restaurant, right? It was somewhere that people could go. So I'm sure for a large so here's actually the question I have for you is, I mean, you're a master motivator, right? You are a person of faith. You make people believe in themselves.
Yep.
But you're also a business person,
yep,
right? So you have to understand you have to have both. You have to have a really good business case and opportunity there. So when you look at this model, like what are some of the signs that you're like, this is actually a really good business model as well? Like, are you seeing insights from other like industries that make you believe that this is a good direction to go? Or from a business sense, tell me, what are you seeing here?
A couple of different things. And to be honest with you, when I started my business way back in the day, I was a horrible business guy. Like, I didn't care about money.
Me too.
And I didn't have a business plan. I didn't have clients. I'm like, let me start this business. And it was really to help people. And in a lot of ways, I'm still like that. I don't like numbers. I'm not good with numbers. I have people around me who are very good with numbers, who report to me. I don't like looking at the numbers. I think it's why I relate a lot to like Jack LaLanne. Those younger folks listening in, Jack LaLanne, the godfather of fitness. I was recently with Elaine LaLanne, his 98-year-old still living wife. Wow. And she said Jack hated numbers. Jack would go out for free and do whatever because if it was going to change someone's life. And I was like, that's what I love to do. Like, I don't really like to look at, hey, this is going to be $500 or $1,000 or $5,000 or $10,000. Like, if it's going to change a life, I'm in. And to answer your question though, like the business model per se, for me, at least the franchise model with 7, as we build it out and you have proof of 10 to 20 of these that, hey, each one of those is profitable. And, if they're netting $150,000 plus, which that's what they're designed to do, 150 to 225. And then some folks are going to want 2 or 3 of them. We're trying to build it. What I want to do is take someone from cradle to grave. We've always had a great internship program. I want to take interns, build them into coaches and trainers, and show them that this isn't a hobby. This can be a career, a career to change lives. And when they become a trainer at ImpactX, and then we put them on a fast track to the entrepreneurial side of it, they learn the business side. What I always say is this: if you focus on the money, it's not a good practice in the fitness world to make money. If you focus on that, the numbers have to be there. I had to change my relationship with money because I grew up as a youngest of 8 kids with no money. So I'm like, I don't believe I deserve money. So that was my old view. Now I'm like, I deserve money because when I get money and attract money, I can go do good things with the money to go put back into it. So we created the Impact Foundation to go give back now to other charities around our community and things going on. Suicide prevention and mental health is our big thing right now. But I would say from a system standpoint, the numbers, the P&Ls have to make sense. Mm-hmm. And we look at that and we're bringing people through the deck and we do that. Travis Barnes, he's a great business partner because he's smart on that side and loves looking at that. I'm like, are we going to change the community? I was talking to a guy in Minnesota this morning. Literally, I said, are you willing to change lives? Because he wants to invest in one of the ImpactX Performances. I said, the bottom line is this: as a person who's going to have an ImpactX Performance facility, if you're not dead set on changing lives, don't get involved. You're with the wrong partner, because that's all I care about, changing lives. I believe if you're mission-centered about changing lives, I believe the money will come, and God always provides. He's never let me down. He's never let someone down who's got the right heart to go do good things. So that's how I always say it as far as the business side of it.
Yeah, right on. So a lot of coaches and trainers look up to you, right? And I think like that profession is in flux, right? There's a lot of changes going on. I've had a lot of people on this podcast, and we've talked about, is the personal training profession slipping into like the gig economy, right? Where it's like people just looking for a space to train, but they also want their Instagram built up, and they want to do remote clients, and they want to do all these different things. Or that, maybe people are looking at as like a lifeguarding certification. Where they kind of get it, they're going to do it for a couple summers, and they're going to move on. And then there's a lot of fear about, of course, artificial intelligence and how will that take over the industry or change the profession. So I want to get your take on how the profession is at this point. And I guess maybe I'll get more pointed in my questions, but what do you think is the biggest threat to the personal training and coaching industry right now in 2024?
The biggest threat, you might be talking to the wrong guy, mindset. Mindset's the biggest threat. Because I start believing, if someone starts believing, well, AI is going to take over, or man, we're going to get replaced. Guess what? You lost. You lose because you start being hesitant about that, because people love people, and this is a people business. So to me, the mindset is the biggest aspect that we got to make sure we buckle up, because if we're not, you'll get your butt kicked in business. I don't care if you are a trainer, if you're a business owner, in anything, it's all about mindset. If you are on a mission to change lives, I believe now's a great time to be in this business. The best are going to survive, and they're going to thrive. There's a lot of people in my mastermind group who are killing it in business because they are so focused on changing lives. Why? Because we have a sick economy. We have a sick people who right now, physically, mentally, are broken. So if someone's like, hey, I want to change lives, some of these businesses are crushing it right now because they're serving people in a way that they need to be served, versus, well, AI is taking over. AI could be a great addition to any business, but it's not going to replace trainers and coaches. When you look at how people are hurt, injured, their bodies are a wreck because of stress and everything going on, with soft tissue work and body work and recovery. That's how I got into this field, was all Rolfing, structural integration, Feldenkrais, deep tissue, sports medicine. That was the late 90s. That's how I got into this world from my back injury. And I think the biggest threat is mindset, a weak mindset. That's why I'm a huge believer in y'all better strengthen your mindset up daily. Like I have to. And that's why I wrote the book, because True Strength, here I am, the mindset guy who the devil was trying to take me out of the game. You're trying to take me out of the game, and I'm talking to Pastor Jay. He's like, everything you do is a ministry. Keep going, keep going. There's good times and bad times. Fortunately, he's 30 years down the road from me at 83 years old. And he's the king of mindset. He should be on the cover of Get Your Mind Right. But to me, the biggest threat isn't any of these things you hear about or the media feeds. It's the mindset of, you get weak, you'll get beat. But if we have the ability that we're going to infuse someone with more heart and soul, then I believe we're going to inspire a world that needs us right now. And we are in a battle, a true battle on all levels. And you just said it earlier on, Eric, as from a coaching perspective, you liken your gym to a church. 100%, that's what it is. It's where people congregate together to be inspired of their body, of their mind, and their soul. That's what ImpactX is all about. It's all body, mind, soul. Body, mind, soul. We're going to feed you the best stuff. You're going to read things on the wall that are the best things. Why? Because everything you see, you start to believe. So what you see is what you believe. And all of a sudden, if you're doing it, and I always say that, what you think, you become. So what you think, your thoughts become your words become your flesh become your actions become your character becomes your legacy. All from your thoughts, yup. So what you read is crucial. What I'm saying to you is crucial. If you're listening to garbage, or some trainer is just complaining how life sucks and it's not good and money's not good, no, stop talking like that. You're speaking it into existence. Stop that. Speak Read. That's why. Read things that are going to inspire you. Hang out with people who are going to inspire you. Your vocabulary, your vernacular changes. Next, you know, you change your whole energy. You start attracting people that need your kind of energy, and then all of a sudden you're changing lives. So to me, mindset.
Yeah, awesome. And I'm going to ask this question, but I think you may have just answered in like 4 different ways. So on the positive side of what I just asked you, what is the biggest opportunity that the fitness profession has in front of it now?
How long we got? I think there's a lot of great opportunities, honestly. But I look at problems and solutions. Problems. What are the greatest problems that exist in the world, and what are the greatest solutions, and how can you be a solution to that problem? So I look at problems that exist. On the opposite side of every problem, there's an opportunity on that. Depends on what someone's divine uniqueness is. Do you like working with people who are obese? Because if you do, there's a lot of opportunities to help people get healthy. Big problem, great opportunity. If you really want to track and hold people accountable, if you get results, you can make the number that you want to work, because now you can work in a gym or you can work online. You have the ability now to attract the people you want to work, not just in the brick and mortar studio, but Todd, I live in Des Moines, Iowa. So what? Nowadays you can train people anywhere, right? So I'm an athlete performance coach. I've got guys flying in from all over the country. I love strength and conditioning. I love that side of it. It depends on the opportunities that one wants. In ImpactX Performance, we have hands-on stretching. We call it stretch flow. That's a great opportunity now that exists for people. Why? Because the whole world is tight and they need flexibility and mobility. Oh, but I don't have to sweat? No. Lie on a table and get stretched out. That's just the entryway, the gateway into what? Hey, you know what? You should actually augment that with walking twice a week and doing some calisthenics as well. Next, you know, you get them moving, get them stretching, they start to feel better. My relationship is better with my wife. I feel like we're clicking more. My sex life is better. All the things that like your relationships are better, it all started with hands-on. Why? Because touch is crucial. When you look at touch, what my whole graduate thesis work was on the physiological and psychological effects of massage therapy on stress and anxiety in 1999. On that, touch is very, very important. During the pandemic, you couldn't touch anyone. You couldn't touch your kids. You couldn't touch. Now, it's coming full circle back around like how important it is. Great opportunity with touch therapy, massage, bodywork, stretching. Great opportunity. Nutrition, great opportunity. I mean, you find out what you love to do and be great at it, be the best in the world at it, it's a great opportunity.
Yeah. Awesome. Well said. So you motivate and influence a lot of people in the industry. And you mentioned Jack LaLanne, you mentioned the pastor, right? I got to meet Jack right before he passed away. I trained at Chris LaLanne's gym in San Francisco when it was open.
I saw Chris.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've known him for a long time. Who is now alive within our industry do you look to for inspiration and motivation within fitness and health?
Great question. One of my longest time mentors is a guy named Tom House. Many people don't know Tom, but Tom started, funny guy, great guy, but I learned from him in the late 90s and early 2000s because he comes from the baseball world. And he worked with all the best pitchers in the world, Randy Johnson, Mark Pryor, the list goes on and on. Then he started working with Tom Brady and then with Drew Brees. And he's got a great clientele. I'm working with several of his clients right now on the training side. He works with the throwing side. But Tom's a guy who in the late 90s started talking a language that I had been exposed to because of my massage therapy days. And he's 20 years my senior. He's a guy I've learned a lot from, both biomechanically and everything in the sports science side as well as in the business side. Tom House has been a very influential person in my life. So from an inspirational standpoint, I look at him as someone who I can to this day talk shop with and really get a lot of great knowledge with. A lot of people don't know who Tom House is, but here's a guy in his 70s who's continuing to work with the highest level athletes in the world. He's a coach, and I love spending time with him to this day. He's someone who definitely inspires me. On the business side of things, it really comes to a lot of other non-fit pros. People here, like even in Whitefish, my guy Stacy Smith here at the Homestead, being around guys like Stacy and Drew Brees. Drew is on the business side in the franchising world, and I've had a chance to be around him prior to us opening ImpactX Performance. And now with IXP, ImpactX Performance, Drew's been someone who's inspired me at a different level. Here I was for 20-something years inspiring and coaching him on the football world. It's kind of come full circle, and now he's like helped me because he's involved with many different franchises, and he's helped me in that. And a guy named Jeff Fenster. Jeff is not a fit pro, but he's in the entrepreneurial side of things. And Jeff Fenster, interesting story. I did not know this, but Jeff grew up in the same town where my gym is in and was watching me when he was in high school. I had just started my gym, and Jeff goes on to be, he's started multiple franchises now, is uber successful. And when I finally connected with him, he's like, I know who you are. I'm like, how do you know me? He's like, I've been watching you since I've been in high school. I'm like, what? He's like, I went to Scripps Ranch High School in San Diego. I'm like, what? So these are some of the guys who inspire me on a regular basis, on a weekly basis. I'm talking to them. Pastor Jeremiah, that guy at a level that I can't even explain, is a godsend in what he does for me. My son Brady just had the opportunity to do a summer internship with him on the media side, like what you're doing here with the podcast and world. He had a chance to take Brady under his wing and share with him the media side, TV, podcasting, radio, all the media aspects of how do you take your message, right, and go out there and evangelize it.
Yeah.
So those are some of the people.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, we're starting to butt up on time here, but I want to get some insights into like what's going on with you for the rest of 2024. Where can people catch up with you? You have your book, obviously. You're going to be doing book signings all over. I presume not just Whitefish. Maybe,
no, not just Whitefish.
Maybe Bozeman.
I've got a very aggressive book signing tour. It's 15 cities in the next 3 months. If someone goes on my Instagram, on my link tree, it has all the different cities that I will be in. And truth be told is my son Luke is going into his senior year of college, and he plays football at Davidson College. So I'm like, I'm not missing a game. But it's all over the country. They're like the busiest play. They're all over. So I'm doing a book signing pretty much in every city they're playing in this fall. And then I've added about 10 more cities in that are adjacent cities and areas. So if you take a look at the cities, I'm in, I think, 8 different states in the next 90 days. I'll also be in Canada with True Strength. We have a retreat back here in Whitefish, Montana in November. And this is not just for Fit Pros. It's for my mastermind group. I lead a group, what's called Impact Coaching. And these are non-fit pros. These are entrepreneurs who are looking for the best, not only health and human performance, but also in life. People who have experienced success, but looking to create even more significance. So they're all coming back along with people who are not part of my coaching programs. We have 25 spots people who just want to be at the retreat. It's at the Whitefish Lodge here, right up the street. And that's all coming up in November. So a big part coming up is around the book launch and, of course, ImpactX Performance. I'm a big believer every December, January, at the beginning of the year, I create what's called my God-Sized Dreams Planner. And people can get that online. But the GSD Planner, you plan your year. You have a big 5. What are the 5 things that you want to accomplish in that year? Like if these 5 things happen, it's a, quote, successful year. And 3 of those just happened the last 60 days. It was the book coming out. It was my big Impact Summit, which was in Los Angeles just a few weeks ago. And that was a live event. And then, of course, the ImpactX Performance launch, which happened in May of 24 here just a couple months ago as well. So those were 3 of my 5 that happened prior to July 1 on that. So the next aspect is to really focus on the growth of ImpactX Performance and make our existing franchisees successful and me pouring into them. And then we've got a lot of fitness shows. Perform Better, got a couple coming up on Perform Better, Can Fit Pro, some other private ones showing up at different studios and clubs over the next few months. So it's going to be a busy few months. I actually like traveling, so I get awakened and energized from actually being in front of a group of people. So I love that, the speaking side and coaching other coaches and other trainers and other fit pros and people who are even fitness enthusiasts as well.
Yeah. Awesome. And I know you're really pretty active on Instagram, right? Is that the best place for people to go, or where would you like them to go?
I'll definitely see it if it's on Instagram. Yeah, you can go to, I have a podcast called the Todd Durkin Impact Show, do one once a week. And on Instagram, I'm on that. DM me on Instagram, hit me up there. I definitely am checking all that all the time. And we're pretty much on every social platform, but I gravitate more to the Instagram for my personal interactions and that. So Instagram would probably be the place to hang.
Yeah. Well, Todd, this has been a real treat. I'm glad we made this work. You roll through Whitefish. I don't get to interview a lot of people in person, as Morgan knows. It's a lot of fun. It's just cool to have that energy to sit by. And man, you got energy, bro. Like there's a lot of it. It's just even the table seems to move differently when you're talking. So it's a real pleasure. Thank you for doing this. And
Eric, it's honored. I know Travis said, you got to meet with Eric when you get back there. And I know we connected, and it was some work to get over here on your end as well. So it's really an honor, and I love face-to-face. I love pressing the flesh. So Morgan, thank you for being here. And Eric, having my son Brady in the house is special. I realize this, and True Strength's an example of that. Like, life's precious, and we don't know how much time we have. There's times and moments in life where you question yourself of like, man, like, how much time do I have? And one thing I realized in being around some really gifted people is you don't want to take for granted the opportunities to connect live with people, interact with people, live workouts, live events, breaking bread with people. Tonight we have a book signing in downtown Whitefish on that. The one thing that the pandemic taught us all is the value of face-to-face, pressing the flesh, giving a hug, giving a high five, a handshake. And that's what you used to do at your gym, right? That's what we do at our gyms. And that's what makes me really excited about IXP and ImpactX Performance is the ability to have that grow and give more light to people. And that comes with just being real and interacting live, not on just, on Zoom, and not just staying in your home office all the time, but getting out and really having human interaction. And that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, that's perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Todd Durkin.
Eric, thank you, brother.
Yeah, appreciate it.